creators, it's Inspiring Vanessa here, and today I'm coming back with another fantastic interview for you guys. And today I am very excited because today I'm going to be interviewing Regan Nevels, and she is a 14-year-old motivational speaker and author from the USA. So I'm going to be interviewing her today about her book and about her speaking career. So I'm very excited. I hope you all are doing well during quarantine and during this time. So I'm going to wait for her to log in. Hello everyone, thank you so much for logging in. So I'm going to wait for her to log in, and then I'm going to join her on the live stream, and then we can get into asking her some questions. And also, if you guys would like to be interviewed on my Instagram account, then please do go ahead and message me, and I'll be sure to reply back to your Instagram DM very soon. So I'm going to bring Regan onto the live stream. There you go. Thank you for logging in. Hello. I hope you're all staying safe as well. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for being on the live stream.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. So how's quarantine been going for you?
Well, quarantine, I would say it has honestly been a drastic change, to most people. And quarantine, it has really honestly, if I'm looking from the positive side, been good for me because I've been able to spend time with my family. And actually yesterday was my mom's birthday, and even
yes,
though we're
I saw that as well. Happy belated birthday to your mum.
Thank you. But even though we're in quarantine and everybody's isolated, we were able to have a Zoom call for her and have all her friends to come on the Zoom call, and it was just a nice reunion of everyone. But it shows us that even though we're isolated and in quarantine, we can still have a good time and use this time to be with our family. So looking from that side, quarantine has been a good time to connect with family for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I think we should all take this time to kind of think of it from the positive side rather than all the negatives that kind of come with being isolated at home or not being able to see your friends and family as much as we obviously usually do. So let's just get straight into the interview. So you are a 14-year-old author and motivational speaker. So how old were you when you realised that you wanted to become a speaker? Because not every kid wakes up one morning and goes, I want to write a book, or I want to start speaking on stage and motivating people. So how did you kind of come across that realisation?
Well, to be honest, my parents tell me all the time that when I was younger, I used to run around in the house and interview all my family members, and they kind of got a hint of something that I was going to be a speaker, like a news reporter or something like that. And I got the opportunity when I was 11, going on 12 years old, to write my book, Vision Collision. And to be honest, I'm starting to realize that when I first started to write the book, I wanted to write a mystery series, and I didn't know that I wanted to write Vision Collision, but I realized that I had to go through that 4-step process to write that book. And I realized, hey, this is the 4-step process that everybody has to go through to accomplish their dreams and goals. And when I wrote that, I realized this is a motivational book. I love to talk. I wanted to do something that inspired other people, but simultaneously inspired me. And I found that through motivational speaking. And by the first time that I stepped on stage, it was just amazing to be able to physically connect with people instead of just connect through them through writing. And speaking is another way that I get to connect with people. So
I definitely agree with you, because for me, I obviously got into speaking first, and then I came across thinking about writing a book about speaking. But I think it's so interesting from your point of view, because it's kind of yes, you have self-development books and then you have fictional books, and everyone's well, they're two different separate books. They're on two sides of the library, you can say. So for you to kind of bring those two elements together is really amazing, because even fictional books have great morals or great stories behind them. So can you just kind of tell us what the book is about, or the message behind it?
Well, the book is entitled Vision Collision, and the main formula of the book is think, write, believe, and achieve. And I talk about how it's very important to use this step when it comes to accomplishing your dreams and goals, because it's easy, or it's an easier way to accomplish your dreams and goals by doing, okay, first I'm going to think. then I'm going to write, then I'm going to start believing, and then I'm going to achieve. And I found that it was really easy for me as an 11-year-old to accomplish my dreams and goals. And since it was easy for me, there's a whole lot of other people that have been telling me, hey, this has been so easy for me, to help me write my book, to help me get my PhD, to help me start accomplishing my dreams and goals. So I basically talk about that 4-step process throughout the entire book, but my message is basically to inspire the masses that no matter what type of dream or what type of goal that you have a desire to accomplish, you can accomplish it through my 4-step process. No matter how young, no matter how old you are, you still have the opportunity to accomplish it. And that's what I really love to stress, because I mean, this book is applicable to all ages, which is, I didn't intend for it to be that way, because like I said, I was 11 years old, but it's been a blessing because it's applicable to all ages, and a lot of people were able to learn from it. So yeah, the basic formula to my book is Think, Write, Believe, and Achieve.
That is absolutely amazing. I can see all the comments flooding through saying young, beautiful, and inspiring girls. I know Regan is so inspiring. Tell me about it, guys. Keep the comments going. Thank you so much. So the next question is, obviously, despite our ages, we are still very wise women. So we kind of have a really clear vision of what we want to do in the future. But sometimes people do have their own kind of opinions on being young and having a career of being a motivational speaker. So what would you say is like the hardest part, or maybe like the biggest challenge that you've had to kind of overcome because of your age in the speaking industry?
Well, I mean, I would say because of my age, it has been easier to reach out to people, because, I mean, like when you get 17, 18, 19, you start to blend in with people, and like as you grow older, you start to blend in with the adults. So I honestly think that it's because of my age that I was able to reach out to so many people as fast as I could. And I mean, like I said, from the moment I stepped on stage, I loved it, and the people loved me, and we were able to have dialogue. That's one thing that I say a lot. I don't like to speak at people or speak to people, but I like to have a conversation. No matter if I'm in an interview or if I'm speaking or if I'm doing a podcast, I love to have dialogue with people. So yeah, that's definitely one of the things.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree with you, because everything has pros and cons, right?
Right.
Just like quarantine, you can see it in that way. Everything has good parts and obviously the bad parts. So I think for the both of us, age is obviously a massive advantage, because if we were just like normal adults, maybe it wouldn't be as unique to what we're doing because of our ages. But I do feel like sometimes people can, I don't know, take advantage of you in a way, which is kind of, you need to prove them wrong, you can say, in the most simple way to say that. So,
and one of the things, I would also say one more thing, that it's like, I've had stage fright a couple times, like before getting on stage. That has been like one of the things that I've had to overcome. And to be honest, I still get butterflies before I do anything, but as I've gone on, it has been easier for me to get on stage. And like I said, dialogue has helped me to open up. I love to do icebreakers. So you know, stage fright, it's one of the things I pretty much, for most people, but it's one thing that I was blessed to be able to overcome through motivational speaking.
What would you say is like your number one tip for anybody who has stage fright or deals with it? Maybe they could be like dancers or just performers, or maybe speakers as well. What do you think has been the biggest kind of step that you took to overcome stage fright and to become more confident on stage?
Well, to become more confident on stage, I would say you would have to practice. It is really important to practice, because if you get on stage, you're nervous and you have no idea what you're talking about, then it's just going to be a complete disaster.
Yeah.
But if you practice what you're trying to give out and what you want people to receive, and one thing that I would also say is you should practice speaking it to someone else. Like, I practice in front of my mom all the time before I go onto stage, and she says, okay, here are some of the things that are not quite clear. So make sure that you practice in front of other people if you are speaking. That way they make sure that it's clear, because you're not in the audience, so you don't know how they're receiving it. So when you have somebody on the other side of you giving you some constructive criticism, then it's so much easier to get on stage. And I believe being nervous, it actually gives you the adrenaline, or helps you be able to speak as good and as well as you want to do. So, I mean, being nervous is a good thing, and I don't think you can actually completely overcome stage fright, but to become more confident, those are definitely some of the things that I would encourage you to do.
I just want to say you are so well spoken. I think everybody who's watching this just like, oh my goodness, where can I get or find more of her content?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So how long did it take for you to write your book? Because people usually say when you write a book, it usually takes people like 5 years even, because it could be about their whole life story or life journey. So how long did it take you to write your book, or like how did you structure it out and how to write it, like time management?
Well, it took me about 6 or 7 months to write my book. And I mean, I had to be very disciplined because even doing school, like as an 11-year-old, there is like no discipline in your vocabulary. So I had to really like manage out my day and discipline myself. And I'm the type of person where when I start writing, I could just keep writing. I'm in the flow, I'm in the zone, or however you say it, and that's how I am. So it took me a total about 6 months to write the book, and I would choose like different days throughout the week to write the book. Like I wouldn't just cram it all in or just try to jot down any information that I could. I would say, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to write for like 2 or 3 hours. And then sometimes it would even be more because like I said, I'm just in the zone. So I mean, that's how long it took me and how it helped me. I know a lot of people are different, but it took me about 6 or 7 months to write my book.
So would you say like in school that your favorite subject is English because you love writing?
Well, I mean, it's between English and math because the creative part of English I absolutely love. But when it comes to reading stories and having to answer questions about them, I don't really like that part of English. It's kind of iffy for me, but I love creating poems and creative writing and like having to do essays because I really get to express how I feel in like argumentative essays, and I'm really good at those. And like I said, I also love math. Math has always come easy to me, and now since I'm in high school, it's kind of getting a little bit more difficult, but it's between math and English. Like my love is between those.
I mean, I've always like, since I was really young, it's just like English has always been one of my favorite subjects. Maths is like the complete opposite. For the people who personally know me like really well, who go to the same school as me, they know that math isn't like my strongest subject, or sometimes I find it more difficult than like English, let's say. But I think I totally relate to you. Like the creative part of English literature is just really exciting because you get to express how you feel about a certain subject, whereas other kids may be like, essay, I do not want to write an essay right now. Whereas for us, it's probably like, yep, we're just gonna keep writing or whatever it is. So I think others people can definitely relate to you, like poems and essays, like they're just great ways to express yourself, especially through writing. So I think that's a really great thing that you just mentioned on the interview or on the live stream. So what would you say is your biggest goal that you want to achieve?
Well, my biggest goal that I want to achieve is to be able to just keep growing as a motivational speaker. And I honestly want to be a household name. Like you hear Tony Robbins and Lisa Nichols and you're immediately like, oh my goodness, they're so inspiring and they're so motivational. And I want to be able to be like that because if I can reach that certain amount of people and inspire all those people at the same time, inspire the masses, that just brings joy to my heart because I love to inspire, I love to motivate. And one thing that I always say is that when I'm actually like speaking to people on a stage and I get to see people's faces, it's such an amazing feeling because you get to see, hey, it finally clicked for me. You get to see that in their eyes. You get to see that in their reaction and in their faces when you're speaking. And I love that so much. And I think I would be able to accomplish that by being a household name. So one of my biggest goals is to be a household name.
I mean, I think you're already making a massive name for yourself around the world. I mean, all the people who are watching who are like my viewers are mainly from like Britain or England. So hopefully when this is all over, you can come to the UK and you can kind of grow your name over here, because I think everybody's loving your motivation, inspiration right now. So again, thank you for being here. Your answers have been amazing so far. I'm just kind of like in awe of all the answers that you're giving to us. But what do you say with like your biggest message to give somebody who wants to become an author or become a speaker?
Well, like I said before, I think it's very important that you practice and you have discipline and you really manage, like you have to have time management, because I mean, like I said, me as a 12-year-old, discipline, it wasn't even in my vocabulary. But I had to be able to have discipline and time out my day in order to become an author. And I mean, I think it really takes practice. You have to practice having discipline, because like if you don't have discipline, it's easy to just go overboard. But I think it's very important to have discipline and time manage your day if you're trying to become an author or if you're trying to write a book. But as far as motivational speaking, I think it's very important to practice as well, because you have to feel comfortable with what you're speaking out about and be able to flow and not go off into tangents. Because I know when I first started speaking, I went off into so many tangents that I would just forget the original question or forget what I was originally talking about. So practice, it helped me be able to not do that. So if you're looking into becoming a motivational speaker, I would say practice should be one of your top priorities.
I totally agree with you. So you're saying that you're currently in high school now, like maths is getting slightly more difficult. So how would you say you manage your career with education and with schoolwork? Because a lot of people ask me that same question, and for me it's like, well, I need to be very organized. Is that kind of the same for you, or how do you manage like school and speaking?
Well, I just recently transferred into online schooling because I was in public school up until about the beginning of 9th grade, which was last September-ish. And I mean, I just started to see it got really difficult because I was at the point to where I had to go to school, pack my clothes in my book bag, jump on the plane, and then have school the very next morning. And it was getting really like difficult for me to be able to do school and then have to come back to school and catch up on work. So I just recently transferred into online schooling, and I like the transition. It was a little bit difficult because for my entire life I was in public schooling, but I have just recently adjusted and it has become so much easier for me. I haven't really had any experience going to events with online schooling because of the quarantine, but I can already tell, like with the Zooms that I'm doing and with the online events and interviews that I'm doing, it's become so much easier because I get to do school whenever I want, and I honestly have a schedule. Like my mom set up the schedule for my siblings and I to do work from about 10 o'clock to 2:30, and we have that time to just do school, and then I have the rest of the day to watch TV, to work on my business. So like I said before, I think it's really important to have discipline, and yeah, that's one of the ways that I've been able to manage school is online schooling, and it has honestly really helped. So
time management is so important for anybody watching. I feel like the first couple of weeks of my quarantine or like self-isolation when my school closed, it was like a whole different new routine. So I think for you, when you first kind of changed from like public school to online school, that was probably like a massive change in routine. But obviously once you start to get used to it, it's kind of like, I can get used to this because you're still having time for yourself. It's not like when you're at home or you have online school, your whole day is going to be spent on doing education or doing schoolwork, because that's not what you would do on normal school days or school hours. So for anybody who is doing online school right now, make sure you do have that structure, so you're not starting work at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon but you are starting it like in the mornings, and you are still putting that effort in as you would if you would usually be going to school, and that you finish it at a good time and you still have time for yourself to relax, because we are teenagers. We do have those days where we just want to lie in bed, watch Netflix, watch TV, watch a movie. So still give yourself that time. So I think it's really important, and especially what you were saying yourself. So where can we find and buy your book? Because I'm very interested to kind of hear more about it or actually read it.
Well, you can find it on my website, which is www.reagannevels.com. My name is right up at the top, but I can put it in the comments if you'd like. It's www.reagannevels.com, or you can find it on Amazon. Or one other way that you can find it is if you DM me, go follow me, and then DM me, and I can personalize your book for you. So you can DM me, you can get it on my website, or you can get it on Amazon.
That is absolutely amazing. So that's kind of most of my questions, but I saw that somebody in the comments here asked you a question. So if I can find it, okay, here. So who inspires you and who helps you tune into your creative side? He said that for him it's Prince EA, and I love his videos. His videos are amazing. So for you, who kind of helps you become more in tune with your creative side?
Well, to be honest, I have always been creative. Like, I love to DIY things. Like, that is my thing, to DIY. And, well, to be honest, my parents have always been my big supporters, especially my mom. Like, she's the one that always goes with me to my events. She's the one that's always pouring into me and helping me become who I am going to be. And I have grown up with leaders all around me. So for me to be able to become a leader, it was kind of natural for me to just move into. But they are definitely the people, my parents and my grandpa, they are definitely the people that have really inspired the creative side in me and helped me become the motivational speaker that I am.
That is so beautiful. And one last question before we kind of wrap up this interview is, what do you think is the most powerful, the most important piece of advice that you've been given in your journey so far? It could be about writing a book, it could be about speaking, or maybe about just you personally. What do you think is the biggest or the best piece of advice that somebody's said to you?
Well, has said to me, I would say that they said to always remain yourself, because there are a lot of people out here that are trying to make it by being someone else or doing what somebody else is doing. And I think it's very important to have a mentor, because they have already been through what you're going through or what you're trying to go through to get to the place or accomplish a dream or goal that you have a desire to accomplish. But trying to be like them and go through the exact same journey as they did is not going to help you get to where you want to be. It's only going to set you back, because you're trying to be like somebody else instead of trying to be like yourself. So one best advice that somebody was giving me is to be myself and be who I really am, because that's how I'm going to grow. That's how I'm going to accomplish my dreams and goals. That's how I'm going to inspire the masses. So one piece of advice that I have really taken to heart is to be yourself when it comes to accomplishing your dreams and goals.
One of the quotes I remember just from the top of my head when you were speaking currently is like, be yourself because everybody else is already taken.
Right, I've heard that quote.
Like, go on your own path and don't you can be inspired by someone as much as you want. Because I think we're always inspired by other people's content or videos or the way they speak, and you can be inspired as much as you want, but always try to be your own person, always be your own unique self, because that is why you were created, that is why you were put on this earth, and you are unique for a reason. So I feel like what you're doing right now, it's like, even though we're both speakers and we both have books, we both have a completely different almost personality and mentality, even though we are both very similar. So I think for everybody to kind of understand, just be yourself. I know it's so cliche, everybody says it, it can be a quote, just be yourself, because you know, why not? But it truly is a really important piece of advice. So thank you so much for being on this interview. I had such an amazing time speaking to you and kind of meeting you properly or virtually.
Well, thank you. Same for me as well. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, thank you so much, and you're very welcome. So everybody, go and follow Regan on her Instagram, and also go and buy her book on her website. And also, if anybody would like to be interviewed on my Instagram, message me on Instagram. My DMs are always open. And yeah, just thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you soon. All right, bye.
Bye.
So thank you all so much for watching this Instagram live interview. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did speaking to Regan. So don't forget to, as I said before, go and follow her and buy her book on her website. And yeah, without further ado, I'll be speaking to you guys on my next interview. Bye.